What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So it looks like PS5 rumors are all over the place right now. In fact, they picked up so much steam yesterday, it almost became like leaks and news all over the place. It was really interesting to watch this happen, so I figure we'll go over what exactly is happening around the PlayStation 5 rumors, the leaks, and the state of play that apparently has also been leaked. Again, a lot of stuff flying all over the place, and I figure we'll just go over what exactly is happening here. And then we also heard Sean Murray talk a bit about No Man's Sky and the Switch, something we really haven't heard much about at all until now, and he talked about this in an interview. So a lot of stuff to go over today. As always, guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure to hit the like button, and if you're new here, get subscribed. We do this every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, keeping you up to date on all the gaming news that goes on all over the place. And we're actually going to start today with Devil May Cry. At least we believe it's Devil May Cry 5. It could be something else in the Devil May Cry universe, as there was a panel around Devil May Cry talking a bit about some mysterious section that they weren't able to show people on stream. And as you're seeing here, this was from Anime Festival Orlando 2019, where they had a special surprise for Devil May Cry fans, and this is what they said just before showing it to the crowd there that is currently under NDA. They said, "I'm gonna have to ask you to put your cell phones away. I know, please. I've got permission from Capcom to show this to you guys exclusively here, so no one else apparently," and I'm not really sure what they're showing them, because I thought they said that DLC or downloadable content wasn't really in the works outside of one that they had already announced. It could be a spin-off. It could be maybe an anime or something that's being worked on. I also thought of maybe like the Netflix special that was being talked about. A lot of things that it could be, however, it doesn't feel like it'd be downloadable content. We'll just have to wait and see. It sounds like something that could be maybe shown at Gamescom if it is some new piece of the puzzle for Devil May Cry fans. We also had Wario64 tweet out that GameStop is now offering, get ready for this, $225 on a trade-in for your old Switch towards the new, more efficient Switch. So the one that gets, like what, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of battery in certain games, 5.5 hours, it seems, roughly, in Zelda, depending on your brightness and everything, and upwards of 9, according to Nintendo, probably in like smaller indie titles and everything. But that means you would have to spend the difference of $75. That's pretty good. There's also a trade-in bonus, it seems, on any game you trade in that's a minimum of $2 in value, gets you another $5 on top of it. It just seems like GameStop is trying to stockpile a ton of used stuff before Christmas. That's generally when they will do it, and it makes sense. But $75 for a trade-in. Just keep in mind, you're going to have to probably be there in store making sure your old Switch transfers to your new one, unless you don't really have anything that's like a bit like if you don't have Splatoon 2, for example, right? Stuff that doesn't support save cloud backup. If you don't have any of that, you probably just trade it in and pick the new one up and just dump all of your saves in the cloud. Not a bad deal, though. Also, do you remember Sessions? It was the game that they showed at E3 a little while ago, and we thought it was Skate for a bit there, and then it kind of disappeared. But now it looks like it's going to be hitting Steam Early Access next month, September 17th, and I had played this on this channel a while ago, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the controls. You were using right bumper and left bumper in a weird way, and I wasn't really sold on the game, but it seemed like it's going to the Xbox as well as PC and everything, and it's due out early 2020, and they started as a Kickstarter. That's how I played it through their demo, and I guess going to Steam Early Access will help them get some more capital and everything, and it was at least complete enough with that Kickstarter demo. And hey, if you're looking for a new skateboarding game, might be worth checking out, but I mean, I would try a demo first, because honestly, the controls were a bit off for me anyway. Also, Shenmue fans can rejoice, because you will be able to play at least a demo of the final game, and this is going to be happening, they said, the second half of September, but backers will be able to check this out, and they posted this over on their page, and it looks like it's going to be a more lengthy demo, about an hour long. They say the trial will feature a standalone act with objective that takes place in the first area of Shenmue 3, and then they go on to say it's an estimated 1 hour, and apparently you can play back through it. So it at least sounds like there's a good bit of game to play there in the demo, and I know Shenmue fans have been waiting so long to be able to play this game, so to hear that there's a demo at least for the backers. Here's the thing, you will need an Epic Games Store account, of course, and the launcher for PC, because that's where they went. So keep that in mind as well, although if you're still sticking with it on PC, you've probably already accepted that, because that's where you're going to play it day one anyway. And guys, some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start with these PlayStation rumors that are going all over the place. We'll start with the state of play. Now, it's not shocking, I think, to most people to hear that there would be a new state of play later on in the fall, for example, right? That makes sense. Possibly ahead of Death Stranding. I think that also makes sense. And here's the thing, these rumors popped up on 4chan, and then they went everywhere. In fact, I think some places started to lose the source of the original leak, and that might have helped it spread even further. But yes, all of this originated on 4chan. The PlayStation 5 leaks, the state of play leaks. It seems like everything's been kind of mixed around and everything. But yes, both rumors off of 4chan. Now, here's the thing about 4chan. I'll give them some credit. Some of the stuff coming out of there recently has been correct, specifically the Pokemon stuff. The Pokemon stuff has been like dead on. Somebody is definitely posting stuff they shouldn't be on there about Pokemon because it seems to be right. But this is interesting because it doesn't sound outlandish. I think that's another reason people were so on board with some of these rumors and leaks and everything. But let's talk a bit about what they're saying here. So the post in question, as you can see, says Death Stranding, which would be the launch trailer, okay? Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and then Last of Us Part 2 with the release date trailer, May 2020. They say this will all take place November 1st, and November 1st is fine. I think that, I don't think that's like outlandish at all. Last of Us Part 2. Getting a May 2020 release date. Again, yeah, I think that makes sense as well. That's the thing. Everything that's been outlined here isn't crazy, but here's the good thing here. We have PS5 rumors from the same source, so if we get by November 1st, there's no state of play, then we go, okay, well, I guess there's not much to look forward to right now anyway for the PS5 rumors, but if we get there, November 1st, boom, state of play, then things get a bit more interesting. I am a little surprised that they would already have, I guess, a date set in stone for this, but I mean, I guess we're not that far out from the 1st of November, only a couple months. They also talk about how Ghost of Tsushima will not be in this state of play, and that one surprises me a little bit because I still think that's coming out on both platforms. However, they talk about how there will be improvements on the PS5, something I would heavily expect, considering on the PS3 to the PS4, when they had that transition, they couldn't move stuff, right? Like it was very difficult. Like it wasn't going to be backwards compatible. They had to just redo the game, essentially, and port it over to the PS4. They did it with Last of Us, for example. They did it with God of War 3 and a couple other games. But in this case, they would need a patch of some kind that you download and probably make things like frame rate, load times, definitely, resolution, and any other details work better. Ghost of Tsushima, I think, is going to push the limits of that base PS4 alongside of Last of Us 2. If you go back and look at Ghost of Tsushima, it looked like there were some pretty large open areas with some pretty serious and advanced stuff going on, and I think that one may actually tax the system more than something like Last of Us 2. Either way, though, November 1st, state of play, couple of games outlined. Would they really show up for 3 games? I mean, if it's Last of Us 2 and it's got a solid release date, maybe, but you could throw some, like Iron Man VR, okay, something like that, right? Throw some little things in there, and yeah, they might have a nice little 10-minute showing then. Next up, let's talk about the PlayStation 5 rumors that also seem to come from 4chan and spread around, and that specifically has to do with when they will reveal it. I've said for a little while, I thought they would do it in December with like a PlayStation Experience type thing, but the more you think about it, history does say that they would do it February of that same year and then roll into the holidays with a PlayStation 5 release. And again, according to these same leakers, something we can kind of see beforehand if it ends up being right with that November 1st state of play, it would be February 12th. And at that time, they would show off the PS5, they'd show off several publishers like Activision and others, and pretty much roll forward with the PlayStation 5. Ghost of Tsushima would be shown there, and then a few other first-party titles. No details on that. Again, a lot of times when you see these rumors and these leaks and stuff, they get very, very specific. They have the date, but they don't really have a lot outside of that, other than, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, those are cross-platform games. Yeah, we all kind of already figured that. I would like to see something for Spider-Man, because the way they were talking about the load times and stuff then, and how you could speed through the city, that sounded kind of neat. I don't know if they'll do that, but I mean, it's a good selling game. That and God of War, sure, why not? Move it over to the PS5 with some extra features and stuff. It's supposed to be backwards compatible, but like put a patch out that makes it look and run even better. God of War at 4K 60 would be insanity. But February, yeah, I could see that. I mean, again, they did the same thing with the PS4, right? February, they revealed it, big event and everything. We then rolled into E3. We saw it more. They destroyed Microsoft badly at that event. Remember, they had the commercial. How do you share your PS4 game? Here you go. That was the end of the commercial. So yes, that it at least makes sense in that timeline. We'll see if it holds up here, but November 1st is the first one we want to look towards, especially if we want to see if that PS5 one would also be correct. Yes, again, yesterday, rumors and stuff flew all over the place, and it hit all major news sites. So yes, a 4chan rumor is what we're going off. But, I mean, they've pretty much nailed down Pokemon perfectly, so let's see what they have for State of Play in the PlayStation 5. Next up, let's talk about Splinter Cell. I like Splinter Cell a lot. I love Chaos Theory. Blacklist was pretty good. And since then, we really haven't had much at all. It's actually been a while since Splinter Cell has had any game released, although I guess they're putting Sam Fisher in a cell phone game, so, you know, yay. But Yves Guillemot did talk with Gamersky kind of about their plans for Splinter Cell, what they're looking to do with it, because, yeah, everyone keeps asking them about Splinter Cell. When they do make that return and Sam Fisher shows up with the 3 green lights, that's gonna be a big moment, I think, on a stage of like E3 or Gamescom or PAX or wherever they decide to reveal it. But this is what he said to Gamersky. We're working a little bit on the brand today to come back at one point. We can't say when because, as you know, it takes time, but each time we have to find the right experience to come back big. Now he goes on to say some new type of experiences, but more on different devices. So we already have seen Sam Fisher appear on a cell phone. That's what a lot of us kind of assume they're talking about here. I wouldn't mind seeing them release some of the older Splinter Cell games on the Switch even, right? Like Chaos Theory or anything from the 360 even. You could move Blacklist over, anything like that as well. I think it would do pretty well on the Switch. You go back and get the old ones even, like Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow, and then you have Chaos Theory. Those, even individual purchases, we just watched Doom, like, almost top the eShop charts. People would really buy into Splinter Cell, I think, and Sam Fisher doesn't have to exist on tablets and smartphones and stuff right now. You can move his older, really good games, by the way, to other devices like the Switch, and I think it would do well, even if you did a Splinter Cell collection and moved it over, and you charged, let's be honest, they'll charge almost full price for that thing. I still think it would do well, and it would at least keep people reminded of Sam Fisher and Splinter Cell for when you do have that big reveal. Don't just move them to cell phones. Let's do something fun with them, and even if it is older games, let's put those out. And our last bit of news, talk about No Man's Sky and the Switch. Now, No Man's Sky has been going through several updates. It's completely different from what it was when it first came out. If you remember that whole debacle, that was pretty serious stuff. But they've been doing a ton of work to it. It's going into VR even now. What they have, Beyond and everything. There's a lot of stuff happening right now around No Man's Sky, which is pretty cool to see a game turn around so much. Well, Sean Murray did talk to Game Informer about it possibly going to the Switch, at least what he has in mind for it. This is what he said. It's super interesting. I love the Switch. We're obviously very focused on what we're doing right now, but we have done a lot of work for PlayStation VR to optimize the game. So I'd be interested to see what's possible, but at the moment, we're just very focused on what we're doing right now. And that is an interesting statement because he is saying, hey, we had to do some serious optimization for the PlayStation VR. And you know what? That might actually be able to translate over to the Switch. I mean, we've seen something like Outer Worlds, for example, get announced, and that's a fairly large game. No Man's Sky is also a pretty big game, the scope of it and everything, but if they're moving it to PlayStation VR, where it does knock down, well, it does require a lot from the PlayStation to do something like PlayStation VR, the game in the PlayStation VR. What they're saying is, hey, it's already kind of optimized in the PlayStation VR. Maybe we'll look into that. And they keep updating No Man's Sky, and there is a fairly large audience, I think, on the Switch that would be very interested in that game. So what I'll say is, I don't think it'd be that surprising to see No Man's Sky get announced for the Switch. And you know what? It could help to, again, prolong the life of that game with a very large install size growing. That's why you hear about this in these interviews, guys. I talk about that a lot. As install size grow, you'll have more and more developers of these games become very interested at the possibility of moving their game over because they know there's money and an audience. So yes, these sales figures and everything are important because where there are units, generally there are games. And we'll finish up today with the comment of the day from yesterday. As you're seeing here, this one's from Sunset Rider saying, "This is the first time I've heard about the OG Xbox as being a spiritual successor to the Dreamcast. Fascinating. Would love to see a whole video exploring this idea." I think Modern Vintage Gamer did a very good video on that idea and everything. And there's a lot of information that's been coming out about the Xbox Dreamcast transition, if you will. I mean, if you look at the Xbox lineup, a lot of Sega games went to it. I mean, Panzer Dragoon, and Shenmue and others show up on the Xbox, and there were even talks apparently behind the scenes of the Xbox playing Dreamcast games, but something with the online service that the Dreamcast had, it kind of played into it, like Sega Net and everything. But yeah, there's some good videos out there. I would check out Modern Vintage Gamer's channel because he's very familiar with the original Xbox and the Dreamcast, and he did a pretty good job in his videos. That's probably the one I would at least start with. And guys, gotta do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, it really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about, whether it's the PlayStation rumors, the PS5, the state of play. They're all over the place. They took over pretty much the mainstream news yesterday, along with the Super Nintendo FCC filing that we already went over with in a video yesterday as well. Let me know what you think about all of that, if it sounds correct, or if you just, it's 4chan. I can't believe any of that. Then also, what about No Man's Sky on the Switch? Do you think that would help the game? And do you think it'd be a good fit for the game on the Switch, provided they can get it to work within reason and everything? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.